diecast cars, dream diecast cars, dream diecast cars, dream diecast cars.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Dream diecast cars, dream diecast cars, dream diecast cars, dream diecast cars.
Yeah,
What is happening, everybody? It's CJ here from Dream Diecast Cars, and
yeah, you know what it is.
it's Dream Diecast Cars. And today, I'm going to be doing a review of this Mercedes SLS AMG made by Minichamps. Now, as usual, I have a few things I want to say real quick before I start this video. One, I'm doing this video today because of comments I got such as these, which suggested that I do the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG. And you guys all thought of it probably because of my last video. If you haven't seen it yet, click here. It was just a video about my diecast car collection because I was kind of on a tight schedule, so I just took you guys over the cases and I showed you guys two of them. So yeah, the other thing is I know I'm not wearing a car shirt today, but I'm wearing a Blackhawks shirt because there are two things I cannot live without, and that's cars and hockey. So go Hawks, great start to the season, 9-0-2. Any Canadians watching this, so happy that the season is back. And you guys are probably very similar to me with the two things, because if you're watching this video, you're probably into cars and, you know, maybe hockey. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, I'm just saying. Alright, so let's get rolling right into this review. Alright, so as usual, we are going to start with the front of this diecast car. First, let's talk about the lights. The lights are covered with a very nice, clear plastic. They have a good bulb right there, you'll see. It looks really good. And then, as you can probably see with the zoom, all those little lines of LEDs are just stickers, but you really can't tell unless you're looking at them this close up. So those really look good as well. Then, you'll see all the intakes. This is one right here. Got one here, and then lower on the bottom. They're all made of a nice material. It's like a plastic, but it's a pretty nice one. And it's not perforated, which is something that I do not like to see. But, you know, it's okay. This one looks especially nice, so I'm fine with it, really. Then, of course, you have the license plate, which says SLS AMG. And the Mercedes-Benz three-pointed star. And then above it, you have their other little emblem, which is another three-pointed star, which has writing around it, which says Mercedes-Benz. That, I think, is painted on. I can't really tell. So, if I can't tell, though, then it pretty much means they did a good job. So, that looks really nice. Now let's move along the side of this diecast car. Now, let's start with the wheels. This whole area right here is made out of very nice plastic, so that's fine. You know what? A lot of rims, actually more than I realize, are actually made out of plastic. So I'm actually fine with it as long as it's not something cheap. And it definitely has good detail. You see around the three-pointed star all these little nuts, and then of course the three-pointed star itself. And then you've got right here on the left this little knurling which says AMG on it. And then you have, of course, the brake discs and the calipers. And the discs are actually made out of metal, and so are the calipers. And as they should, the discs move through the calipers as the wheel is turned. There really isn't too much else on the side of this diecast car. You see another intake right here, and then the 6.3 thing, which has to do with the amount of liters in the engine. And then you've got, you know, the rear, the mirrors, a little door handle, which is just carved into the side, but looks very good. And then to show you something that I think you guys are going to find interesting, we have to move along to the other side of this diecast car. Now that I'm on the other side of this diecast car, I bet you guys can tell pretty easily what happened. you've got the normal 6.3 right there. But then, up here, you've got an extra 3, which isn't even aligned properly. And that makes me wonder a few things. One, is somebody missing a 3 on their diecast car? Is it like 3.6 or something? And 2, this is something that we're going to bring up in the end, which is the build quality of Minichamps, and especially this SLS model. I'm going to get into some more reasons later. But for now, I mean, that's definitely something that you can tell should not be there and looks very bad. And now just one more thing before we move on to the back of this diecast car, and that is the fuel filler cap, which there isn't too much to talk about, but it looks very nice and realistic, so that's definitely a good thing. Now let's move on to the back of this diecast car. Now, when looking at the back of this diecast car, you will see one of the main reasons why I decided to pick the SLS AMG made by Minichamps rather than the SLS AMG made by Macetow. Now, of course, there are your obvious reasons. You know, it's going to be made out of better materials and the interior is going to look a lot better. But one of the main reasons is these lights. Now, in my opinion, the SLS AMG has some of the best brake lights of any car. So I want them to look good on my diecast car. And the ones on the Macetow, let's get a picture of that up on the screen. Wait, I gotta kind of give some room. Right there. Those just are not good looking. Those look pretty bad, pretty cheap. However, these have a nice, expensive look to them, and they look very realistic and very good. So let's get right into reviewing them. I mean, you've just got these strips right in there that look exactly like a real metal, and probably are really real metal. Nice plastic cover, which looks very good. And just, there's not a ton to say about it because there aren't like a lot of bulbs and stuff. It has a very sleek look, but it just looks great. Now, when you look at the lettering on the back of this diecast car, you will notice yet another design flaw. First, you'll see this SLS badge right here, which looks good. Same stickers that the 6.3 is made out of. Then in the middle, you'll see the Mercedes-Benz emblem, the 3-pointed star, which looks fine. I don't have any good words to describe it. It's fine, I guess. It's made out of plastic material, which isn't bad, but I wouldn't say that it's great. And then right here, you see the AMG lettering, which all looks fine, except for when you look really close, you will notice that the G is not there. Now, when you look really hard, you'll see that the color is faded, so you can assume that there was a G there at some point, but still, it's really not a good thing that that fell off, especially because I keep it in my case pretty much all the time. It's rarely ever touched, so that should not be something that happens. So, another disappointment there by Minichamps. Now, when you look lower down on this diecast car, you will see that there is yet another SLS AMG license plate, which looks pretty nice. And then right here, that same little bit of plastic intakes, which they look good. They look pretty realistic, which I like. And then you will see the exhausts, which look very good and very realistic. So, very, very good job by Minichamps to recreate those. Now let's go check out the engine. Now, something that I really like about the way that you open up the engine on this diecast car is this little button. It's got one that pops the engine slightly. You need to hold it to be able to open it. But it's still really nice because, I mean, all you have to do is click it, just hold it open, and then bang. Your trunk, or your engine rather, is opened up. Now, of course, Minichamps is not the first model car company to do this. Well, I actually don't know who was the first, but they definitely do not do it as consistently as companies such as KYOSHO. If you want to see me talk about that, you can look through my videos. I have a video. I'll put a link in the description. I have a video called "What's the Deal with KYOSHO?" Now, when you take a look inside the engine, you will see that there really isn't too much to see, but actually that's realistic. Most of the stuff is hidden underneath all of, this carbon fiber. It looks like they're trying to recreate. They do it pretty nicely. Not amazing, but pretty well. Then, this little filler, it's probably for the wiper fluid. But pretty much the only thing that you see is the engine block, which is recreated nicely. You've got the two, AMG things on each side, and then some really small words that I cannot read in between those two things. And there's really not that much else, but hey, if that's realistic to the diecast car, then that's what you want, or if that's realistic to the real car, then that's what you're going to want on your diecast car, and Minichamps does not disappoint with that. Now, real quick before we check out the interior, let's take a look inside the trunk of this diecast car. There isn't really too much, so this shouldn't take too long. Inside, all you really see is some felt and, just a little pocket really right there, but it's not like there's any mesh or anything. It's just all shaped out. So it looks nice, but there's just not too much to see. Although something that this does bring up is that Bernardo's SLS AMG, which he bought maybe a year earlier than mine, he has a much better, or I think I sound like I'm repeating myself exactly from last video, but if you did not watch it, he has a much better color than mine. He has that matte gray, which looks looks great. However, he doesn't have felt in the trunk or in the interior, so that's kind of a problem. That's another little flaw. Now, let's take a look at the interior, which is going to be pretty hard to do because of these gull-wing doors, which are replicated nicely. They look realistic. However, it's just going to be very difficult with this small little opening for me to give you good views of what's on the inside. So I'll try my best, but this may look a little bit worse than normal. Now, when you look on the interior, you will notice that there are a lot of these like vents. One's like this one, right there. And there are also some dials down there which control the temperature and stuff. You've got the little gear shift. Then this little satellite navigation up here, like radio controls and stuff down there. You've got the steering wheel way back in there. Whoops, that's focusing on the wrong thing. Steering wheel way back in there with the dials. It all looks pretty good. And once again, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but there's also felt on the interior of my diecast car. It's hard to see because with it zoomed in this far, it somehow makes it, or for some reason it makes it really dark. But there is felt on the interior of mine as well, and there is not on Bernardo's. So another downside for Bernardo there. Alright, so now real quick, let's take another look at the steering wheel. It's made out of a nice material. I can't really tell what it is. It must be some form of plastic, but it almost sort of feels like leather, but I can tell it's not. Then you've got the 3-point star in the middle, and once again, because of I'm zooming so much, it's dark. But there are a lot of nice buttons there that just look very realistic. And then you see dials behind the steering wheel, which look good. And then, down here you see this little hitch or something, I don't really know what to call it, which the door would hook into if it were the real car. Now, of course, this is not the real car, it doesn't actually hook into it, but I just find it very realistic that they put that there. Alright, everybody, now down to the point which I wanted to talk about real quick before I give this car's final grade. Build quality absolutely sucks. I hate the build quality on this thing. Now, yes, it may be a cheaper Minichamps. You can find these for around $95 to $110, which is a very good price because it's a nice car. However, it just does not hold up to the standards which Minichamps should be holding. On Bernardo's diecast car, this suspension is all limp and down all the way. It looks really bad. And then, no offense, Bernardo, but it's just true. And then on mine, you've got this, this right here, the 6.3 all messed up. Then the G from AMG is missing on the back completely. It's just really not looking good. Not digging that for sure. So, yeah. And then, of course, Bernardo's doesn't have any felt in it whatsoever. Just bad build quality. Minichamps, I've seen your other stuff. In fact, I have a lot of your other cars, and they're very good, but this just does not hold the standards which those do. Alright, so now it's down to the grades. Now, as you remember, I've split my grading up into two parts, which is one, not including money, and the other one does. So, the first one, not including money, any grade, just compared to any diecast car, money is not an object. This diecast car gets a B+, which is very bad because model cars like this should be getting A's consistently, but I'm giving it a B+, just because even Maceto, very cheap diecast cars like this, they may not have all those nice little details, but they definitely do not mess up anywhere. Then, when you include price in the whole thing, I'd give it a B, which I almost feel is kind of nice because, yeah, once again, it has the interior, but when you're paying $110 for a model car, you should not get flaws like that on said diecast car. Just does not look good. Alright, everybody, so that is going to wrap up this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you have a good idea for a diecast car that you want to see next week, put that down below in the comments, and I hope to see you guys soon, preferably next Monday. Alright, bye everyone.